Hello, I'm Debbie Thomas and I've been volunteering with Simon Says since 2017. During that time, I've had the privilege of working with children and young people to help them through their grieving process. Today, in this presentation, I will be concentrating on the memory box. But before that, I'd like to discuss just 3 things. The first one, before you start your session, ascertain from the teacher and family how much the child knows about the circumstances surrounding the death of the person they love. Is it an accident? Is it suicide? Is it cancer, a prolonged diagnosis? This is important to know because some families don't want their children to know everything. They want them to know just enough to know that that person will not be coming back. My second point is, for some people or for some children, this will be their first death, and therefore look out for triggers. It's usually calendar events such as birthdays and anniversaries and religious events. The third thing is, when you're talking and working with your children or child, do use the words death and died. Please try and avoid gone to sleep or passed away, because for some children this can be really confusing. So, our memory box. It's significant that you use it as a way of normalising grief. It helps the grieving process because the children will have the chance to think about the different aspects of the person who died, what they were, who they were, what they liked, what they disliked, what they were good at and what they weren't, as well as all the other things that were important to them. Another significant thing about the box is, for some children, it symbolises a way for them to have a safe conversation and say the things that that have gone unsaid for fear of upsetting other people. So, for example, if it is Granny that's died, they don't want to upset Mummy by talking about her. But having the box enables them to be able to look at things and talk to other people about what's in there. So for the preparation, what do you need? Well, obviously a box, but there's several ones you can use. You can use any size you want. For example, it could be a small box because this is big enough to put maybe a piece of jewellery in. There's lots of different boxes on the market, I have to say, but this particular one is shaped like a box, and inside there's a section here which allows you to put a photograph in, and then the conduit is still big enough to hold their precious things in there. And the third one, of course, is the shoebox. What I also use, I have a selection of arts and crafts, pens, paper, that sort of thing. Also some magazines and some paper, because they'll be able to cut out pictures that evoke memories. I've also used a mirror sometimes as well, because a mirror, they're able to identify similarities between the person who's died and themselves, and sometimes that can be really comforting. I also have paper and a pen available, so they're able to write down their thoughts and feelings. If it's an older person that you're working with, younger person, they may want to do a journal, which is really therapeutic, to be able to put down their thoughts and their feelings. Before I start an activity, I usually think about and relax myself and think about the mnemonic golden. So the G is to get the child to relax as well. So ask them about what they've done in lesson before they came to see you, or what are they going to have for lunch. O is for open questions, such as, I'm really sorry to hear Granny died. When was that? Or how was that? Just to try and get the conversation started. L is for listening. Listen for the answer. sometimes there might be a gap between the answer and the next conversation. Try not to jump in, because they could just be processing a thought or a memory. D is for decide and reflect. So thank you for sharing that. That was really brave. I appreciated that a lot. How do you feel about starting your memory box today? They may say, no, I don't want to do it, but that's okay. You can just talk instead. E is for encouraging positive thoughts. The child may be excited, may have a birthday coming up themselves or a family event. Tell them that's great. Let them tell you about it. Be excited, be animated. N, which I think is the most important, and means never rush your sessions together. If you only talk and don't do anything creative, well, that's okay. As far as possible, let it be child-led. And also, don't expect too much too soon. For some of you, it may take 2 or 3 sessions before the child actually feels able and comfortable enough to actually do anything. So, the box, what happens now? Well, when I've got children with me, I usually play a game because I show them my box. On the front, there are certain words. And what I like them to do, if they're not sure how to start their box or what to put on their box, what I do is ask them to close their eyes and point to them. In this case, it was hobbies. So, okay, so tell me about, what did Granny enjoy doing? Was she a good cook? Or was she good in the garden? And in that case, then you can go to your magazines and cut things out and start sticking things on the box. And as they do, again, you can keep asking them about it. That's interesting. You've just put the colour green on that box. Was that Granny's favourite, or is that your favourite colour? And children, being children, often get distracted. And when they're working, they go off on a tangent. And I had a little boy, we were talking about the box and we were doing really well. And all of a sudden he said, I watched the match with Daddy on Saturday and we won. I said, amazing, that's excellent. Try and bring it back to the situation if you possibly can. So if Granny was there on Saturday with you, would she be watching the match as well? Or would she be outside looking after those beautiful flowers that you've just picked out? Something like that. Just keep it light-hearted. And remember that this doesn't have to be perfect. It's not an art lesson. The important thing you're doing is about the process the child encounters and the conversations you scaffold them through during the activity. If they're not sure what to put in their box, I always ask them to come with me. Come and have a look at my box. And what I do, I show them what's in it. And it's good to encourage the children to do this when they get home. So we can say, we've got some music, and I've got a really good DVD. Does Granny watch DVDs as well? Always bring it back to the person that's died and the person that's significant to them. A book, it could be a bedtime story that they really enjoy being read to. Another thing which seems a bit daft to some people, but it's a birthday card. If it's coming up to Granny's birthday, some children like to write a card, and that's perfectly all right. Encourage them to do that. So, as they're doing all of this work, they'll also go through a plethora of emotions. Some might go through it, not all. It could be happy, sad, angry, and we call that puddle jumping because they go in and out and in and out. But reassure them that it's okay to be like that. It's part of the grieving process. And it's often prudent, and I've done it myself, is to have your sessions before a break, because then that enables the child to go and meet friends or go and have a run around before they start back to their class. When you've allowed your children to leave your session and they've gone out happy and you're happy with that, then go and speak to their teachers and just advise them of how the session went. Let them know if the child got really upset about a subject you spoke about, then they can let the family know. Also, if you're working with younger people, sometimes they may have revealed to you something that may be of a safeguarding issue. So please say something about that. It's important. Finally, try and make some notes about the things you've heard today. It may be a special event by the time you see that child next. It could have been the anniversary of their death. So when you see the child next time, just ask them, what did they do? How did they feel? Just to ensure that there's some continuity between the first session and the next session. Now, if there's anything else you would like to know about memory boxes or about Simon Says, then please feel free to email us. Finally, I just want to thank you very much for looking after the children in your care. And just remember that the greatest thing you can do for a bereaved child is to give them your time and also to listen. Thank you.